Tenemos muy buenas noticias para todos ustedes. Vamos a estar haciendo lives con la policía de Cincinnati. Vamos a estarlo haciendo en inglés, entonces espero que le puedan poner on, o sea, que puedan encender sus subtítulos.
So if you want to tell me who you are, who you're with, and kind of give me a little bit of background about you.
Okay.
Oh, one time. Sorry, Tony. Let me get you zoomed in. Tell your folks on live that they're working with a little TV production here.
Go ahead. Tienen un equipo muy sofisticado aquí en la policía de Cincinnati.
Go ahead,
Hello,
Tony.
I'm Officer Anthony Johnson.
Oh, if you want to look here, Abby.
Okay, I'm Officer Anthony Johnson with the Cincinnati Police Department. I've been on 23 and a half years, and I am your immigration liaison officer for the city.
Hi, everybody. My name is Deifilia Diaz. You can call me Day. I am an immigration attorney, and I own my law firm, which is Valencia and Diaz. We are located in Cincinnati and have been practicing immigration law for 10 years.
Talk about how you two know each other, how you started working together. What is the relationship between this law firm and the police department?
So, there are victims that need assistance that are immigrants through the city of Cincinnati. And with our partnership, we're able to help a number of them with different resources and assistance with depending on the situations and the certain crimes that may have occurred to them.
Because he's a liaison for the immigrant community, and I'm in the immigration attorney, and I do a lot of U visas, which it is a program that when you're a victim of a crime here in the United States and you're undocumented or you need an immigration status, you can pursue this U visa. However, the U visa requires law enforcement certification, which is a signature. So it is the golden signature that for immigration would say, yes, this person such and such was a victim of this crime, and help us in the investigation, reporting, persecution, prosecution. So that's how we interact. I say, well, I have a client that is telling me that it was a victim of aggravated robbery, felonious assault, domestic violence, and then I prepare the certification, send it to you. You do your investigation. You can talk about more what you do here, and then I get to file these petition for my clients.
Walk us through the steps of a U visa, because you were just talking to me about it. It's really interesting, and it all starts with, Tony, you taking down and someone reporting this crime. Certain types of crime fall into the category. Walk everyone through it to then the point of, citizenship. This is a pathway for citizenship. Starting with you, Tony, talk about kind of what a U visa is, and then getting to the point of, you're getting this documentation.
Well, the initial contact is just being able to help the victim. Whatever the crime may occur, encouraging people to understand if you're a victim that it needs to be reported, that not only is it to help the victim in that crisis, but also to give them resources to be able to, get the support that they need through the crisis. And one of those are being the U visa. We know that immigrants are fearful of police. They're fearful of dealing with anything that may cause repercussions to them because, quite frankly, they're in a foreign land, may not speak the language, and don't understand a lot of the laws that we have here. But this gives them the opportunity, if they're a victim, that they can trust that law enforcement is going to help them. We'll make the report. We'll guide them through the process. We'll get the support that they need. Also add victims advocates to be able to assist them in whatever these things are. And then the resource of the U visa to protect them and understand that we're not here to punish you for being a victim, but we're actually here to help you and get you the relief that you need.
Yeah. So once the crime is reported, or sometimes they come to me and the crime had happened and has not reported, so I get in touch with law enforcement and we're able to report. The beauty of the U visa, I call it the oasis in the desert. Why? Because through this process, we are able to petition for family members. We are going to be able to get to the green card, the residency, the lawful permanent residency, and later on all the way to citizenship. It is a long process. You pass cross checks and so forth through immigration, but the first part, it is reporting the crime. And my clients, when they come to the office, they have reported the crime, but sometimes they report it out of survival. They are not like, oh, I have been a victim of a crime and let me report it just
No.
because of the U visa. They want to survive in that very moment. And I think that the message that we want to spread, it is, don't hesitate to call law enforcement. And one of the reasons that this program was created by Congress, because this is a federal law, by Congress, is recognizing that immigrants in this country, they are very vulnerable, engaging with law enforcement because they fear law enforcement. They think that by coming to law enforcement, something bad is going to happen, when the bad had already happened to them. So when I screen my clients and I ask, have you been a victim of a crime? The response that I get, it is, no, I have never been in trouble. And I said, no, trouble has come to you. It is not that you look for trouble. One thing is to do this, to be the suspect or the perpetrator, the aggressor, and other thing it is to be a victim. And immigrant communities, we have to learn that differentiation, right?
Absolutely.
Tony, talk about what types of crimes you see against our immigrant population here, and what types of interactions when you are called out to talk to these people and speak to them. What types of things do they tell you? Are they fearful to tell you? Kind of talk about the crimes against them, and then kind of the interaction with you, a person in uniform.
So yeah, so a number of the crimes, the majority of them are robberies, and the reason being is that they just don't have the resources to be able to like have bank accounts and things like that to not have to carry cash on them at certain times, and so when they're robbed, they're fearful to report because not only are a victim of that circumstance, but they may be a victim of police because wherever they come from, their law enforcement is not, it's not domestic. They don't handle domestic issues. They're mostly military, and if not corrupt, just to be frank about it. So when we come to those situations as law enforcement, they're fearful of us. I've had ladies that are just crying and shaking because they're afraid of what I'm going to do just because my presence is there. And it's not why I joined law enforcement. I'm here to help victims. I'm here to help people. We're community service, to help assist and save protect the city. But yeah, mostly fearful. And until you can kind of encourage them and let them know that, we're human, we're here to help you, you're a victim, we're not trying to re-traumatize you, and building relationships in the community. So there's a trust that when you see us that you can tell us that you need help, or I mean it's okay just to say hi to us even. I mean that's how deep the fear is when it comes to law enforcement contact.
So once someone reports a crime, you get everything handled in terms of paperwork and proper reporting, and you start working with Ms. Diaz. How long is this U visa process? Walk our audience through that.
It is very long. That is the sad part of it. It is very long. And the line increased with COVID, as everything else in immigration and the rest of the world. So once you file a petition for U visa, right now we are in 2023, right? Immigration is reviewing the applications that were filed 2018. Thank goodness, in June 2021, they issued a memorandum saying that if you pass, it's called the prima facie determination, which is a very subtle review of your case. If they're looking for the petitions, the certification, the affidavit, and you pass a background check, that's the most important, there you can get a work permit while you wait, because the line is getting longer. And there is 10,000 visas available per year, per fiscal year, and they are being bombarded with more and more petitions, and they are awarding the U visa to the cases that were filed 2016. So right now we need Congress to increase that number per year, so they can move along. So basically right now, if you file a petition 2023, it's gonna take at least 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, like at least 4 to 5 years for immigration to review it. Now, Immigration UCIS is engaging actively in hiring and training officers to review these petitions. However, to be an officer to review these petitions, which is victims of crime and petitions related, you have to have different type of training than normally another immigration officer. So once you get the U visa approved, then it's approved for 4 years, and at the third year you can apply for your lawful permanent residency. Once it's approved, then 5 years, and then you can apply for citizenship. Now if you're married to a U.S. citizen, the naturalization process can be shorter, 3 years with your lawful permanent residency, but it is a pathway to citizenship.
You said something really impactful. You said something horrific is turned into hope when you get a U visa. And I absolutely love that. And when you get a U visa, you don't just get a card. You don't just get something. You get a social security number. You get a work permit. Talk about all the things that come about from this.
So when the U visa is approved, the clients are like, "Show me the U visa. How that U visa looks like? How they want to touch it? They want to smell it? They want to even lick it? You know." And the truth it is that the U visa approval comes in a letterhead, like thick paper, but they wanted to see something that like an ID, and that's the work permit, right? So the U visa is approved in a letterhead saying that the U visa, the non-immigrant status has been approved, and they give in the bottom, they give an I-94, which is the I-94 is a form that immigration issues to an immigrant that comes with admission, like presenting yourself to immigration instead of crossing just the border. So they get that, the approval, and they get the work permit. And the work permit is an ID that allows them to work legally in the United States. With that, they can go to the Social Security Administration, they get a Social Security number, and in the state of Ohio, they can get a driver license. And they can start living their lives with a Social Security number. They're gonna be able to be free, and I have clients that they're able to apply for loans, get the house, buy the house, get bank account, and basically start living a normal life here in the United States.
This is incredible. And Tony, talk about, once these people get on the pathway to get a U visa, others start hearing about this. Is there a timeline? Say someone says, well, I was a victim of a crime 2 years ago. I didn't know about this. What is kind of is there a timeline within a certain amount of years something has to be reported? Are there stipulations like that?
Well, timelines really depend on the offense itself as far as law is concerned. But as far as the U visa process, this is why we're here. We're trying to put this information out so people do not wait, and that when something like this happens, the most important thing is to report it. Report it so then that way we can get the process going as far as helping the victim, again, with all the other resources, but ultimately to get the U visa certification process going, because this is what it's made for. It's made for our immigrants that are victims of certain crimes to get the assistance that they need and not feel like that they're going to be re-victimized because what's happened to them, because they're true victims.
Do you have any stories you could tell about when you've told someone, you are a victim, you've been a victim of crime, this is not your fault? Do you have, the reaction that you could share with the audience of what people say to you, thinking as a police officer, he's gonna come in and he may hurt me, hurt my family, and then you talk to them, no, you're the victim. Do you have any stories like that?
Sure. A couple years ago, I had met a gentleman when we were just doing safety talks in the community, and he had actually been shot, a bullet through his leg. And when I was explaining to him some of the safety talks and some of the things, and then I brought up the U visa process, I mean, he was standing off in the corner, like not really wanting to approach me, but that he has a question. So I slowly walked up to him so I wouldn't make him nervous. Hey, do you need something? Do you have any questions? And literally, he's telling me, I got shot in the leg. Am I a victim? Like, he's asking me if he's a victim of a crime. And clearly, somebody shoots you, takes stuff from you, you're a victim of a crime. And I mean, almost to the point where once I told him that, he was like ready to pull his pants down to show me where the bullet wound was. I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. But that's the important thing of why we're here and what we're doing is that we have probably more than enough people out here that are fearful of reporting crimes to us because they're worried about what may occur. When, again, our whole purpose here is to help victims of crime, assist them in all manners, from the start of the crime to reporting to victims advocacy to, I mean, again, the U visa process, so they're not worried about being deported to help us get the people that are committing these crimes off the street. Um, the sad part about it is he's probably one of a number of people that have still yet to come forward on offenses just because they're fearful of what may occur to them.
If you guys could talk amongst yourselves, it was interesting. You were talking about, different cultural differences between from ways that people, imagine and think about police to ways in which, you were talking about looking down and bowing your heads. If you guys kind of want to share those experiences of what you both noticed and kind of talk with each other about all of that.
So, for me, the biggest thing is the fear that people have of us. I already know that there is a stigma, good, bad, or indifferent, about me when I walk into a place in uniform. There's already going to be a feeling because this uniform represents so many things to so many different people. Um, the unfortunate part about a number of our immigrants, refugees too, is that this uniform, really contains a lot of negativity from the countries that they come from because most of their police departments are military based, so they don't deal with domestic stuff. So just being able to build the relationships and the connection and allowing people to know that we're human just like you, and we're here to help you, we're not here to harm you, hurt you, and then it's okay to look at us, it's okay to be in the same room with us, it's okay to just even have basic conversations. There's a couple community times that are community meetings that I've went to where the room is just silent because I've walked in, and I'm not coming in to say anything. I'm just coming in to be there if they need something from law enforcement. And uh, the majority of the time, it's just being able to cross that bridge of a relationship, knowing that we're here, not for anything negative, not to abuse you, not to disrespect you, um, but as a service to be able to assist you. That's the biggest thing that the biggest hurdle we have to climb as far as law enforcement.
And I think that we have to pass the message that you are not ICE, you are not immigration.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I go back lately to definitions. We have assigned definitions and labels to everything in our lives, right? So when I first arrived to the United States, because I'm an immigrant from Mexico, so I saw law enforcement because I was not working with law enforcement, and probably I got the same feeling, right?
Sure.
But now I see an officer, I'm like, hello, hello, and I see you guys as a partner,
Mm-hmm.
because you're essential to my mission, to my purpose on helping victims in this U visa process, right? And when I see a police officer, when I am going with my son, I'm like, wave, because I want that recognition that yes, I recognize you as a human being. I know that you feel unrecognized as a police officer and completely disassociated from the community, right? And most often, the police officers are always waving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Well, coming from Mexico, one of the major differences it is that we don't trust. That is essential. We don't trust law enforcement, and it pains me, and it's something that we have to acknowledge. Um, when we come to a traffic stop, if that happens, we are very defensive already. And in the way that we have to approach the situation, it is that sometimes we have to just show respect. And the way that we show respect is just looking down, putting our hands in the pockets. And here are big triggers, are red flags for law enforcement, because that means that you're hiding something. You probably have a weapon inside of inside of your pocket yourself. You're hiding something and you're lying to me. Or when you get out of the car, that is a big no-no here in the United States, you have to wait for the officer to come to your window, slowly movements, and show your hands at all times. Because I went to the FBI Citizens Academy, and I have been in touch around you guys that we as the community, we don't realize that you put your life in the line every single day. So your safety is first, and when we exercise compassion to you, saying, well, he's putting his life every single day and he doesn't know if he comes back home, he has your software in your brain is just different, operates different. Like, I have to be analyzing if this is safe. So for us immigrants to understand that there is different practices here in the United States, and we have to shift and understand what is the rules. That is one of the biggest hurdles as an immigration attorney, saying the things doesn't happen like that in this country. We have to learn.
If people are watching on live and they say, you know, I may be interested, I may be, you know, able to get a U visa, how do they start the process, Tony? And how do you file a police report? How do you do this? How do you get in touch with you guys?
So the beautiful thing that our police department, our chief and command staff support is the fact that we have language lines, we have ways and means to be able to communicate. So if it's something that you haven't filed a report, you can go to the district or you can contact me. I'm down here at District 1. You can come down here. I can make the report for you. But even if you're fearful, you don't have to come here. I'll go to you. So if it's something that you're not comfortable with, I've gone to many places to be able to make a report. But the most important thing is to not be fearful of making that report. Take the first step, so then we can start, the pathway of being able to assist, whatever you're a victim of. Um, I know it's a huge hurdle to get over as far as being able to overcome the fear of dealing with police. So, but we're willing to do what we need to do to take care of you as a victim.
I would say that also, if you trust an attorney, go to that attorney.
Mhm.
If you trust a pastor, go to the pastor, and the pastor or the attorney can get in touch with law enforcement, which that's what I do. And I try to get in touch and connection with law enforcement, as many as I can, to say this is happening. Victims, immigrant victims, are left out of this program because we have not made the connection. So if there is a victim out there that is here and listening this for the first time, and probably is not from even Cincinnati, they are you available if they are not from Cincinnati to just point them in the right direction?
I've done that. That's the thing. I've worked with Springdale, the city of Hamilton. I mean, even Warren and Butler counties. So, because there's some agencies that don't understand this process. So, even if it's not from here or in our jurisdiction, I will assist you to get to those agencies or whoever may need to get that process started.
And this is a blessing. I wanted to commend the Cincinnati Police Department, and I have already told you he came to my office how everything this has started to assist a victim of a crime, one of my clients, and to be open about it, to just put it in the table. That's the first step. Because I know that just broadcasting and putting this in the media is scary for a agency, but at the same time, we have to just take a moment and acknowledge this, because if we keep talking about it in closed doors, that we are not reaching to the people that will be benefited from this program. So thank you very much.
And we've touched on a lot for your folks watching on live, and then for this video, anything that we didn't cover that you really want the public to know?
I will answer black or white the question that if there is a statute of limitation for the U visa filed. Law enforcement can have their own procedures, policies about the statute of limitations, because that is criminal law. But if the crime happened 1995 and I had a U visa, well, a crime that happened 1995, which is before the U visa was enacted, still immigration would approve that. So there is no limits on when the crime happens, as long as the law enforcement is able to certify that and clarify that. So if you have a victim in the past and you want to file your visa, you can certainly do that. The immigration will not cut off just because that happened 10 years ago, but you will still have to prove the requirements under the law.
I'm sorry if I didn't. I know I answered the law, the statute and stuff. But
That's perfect, and that's good to know. So 1995 was the year that then U visa.
No, 2000.
Oh, 2000.
Yes.
Okay.
My case was in 1995.
Oh,
So it was a domestic abuse, and it was in Alabama, which domestic, it is not called even domestic violence, it is assault on a female. So I had to explain to immigration that assault on a female, it was domestic violence. And crimes sometimes are not defined as the federal statute defined it, because it was a federal definition. So we have to just be working in elements of the crimes, and it's just more, it gets to the more nerdy, geeky conversations, which we love. But that is a beauty on it, to talk about it. And it will not hurt to just raise the hand and say, what about me?
Yes.
would disqualify. What do you think, Officer Johnson? I mean,
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to ask. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing, because
Yeah.
you never know. Like, I would have thought when you said 1995 in, you know, Alabama, that was different, but
Absolutely, absolutely.
well, you guys were awesome, and I truly appreciate it. And if you want to say bye to your live folks, I'm just gonna get some shots of you.
¿qué opinan de su cabello? Bye.
Ciao.